Okay, this is Greetings and Grand Rising. This is Rashia Lynn Harmon'El here with Mr.
Vincent Lee.
Vincent Lee. Okay, and we are going to be continuing the interviewing process regarding the events that occurred on October 6, 2021 at the Assert 1361 South 46th Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The city that bombs its indigenous peoples, okay? Because it doesn't bomb everybody. It's just the indigenous peoples who they have a deep hatred for and disrespect and exhibit prejudicial behavior towards. And so we are going to open with inviting the Elohim, our Elohim, Yahuwah, into this space so that we can be sure that what is said here are the facts, okay, and not none of this is made up. All of it is real. Of course, there are perspectives, okay, and we are going to be providing perspectives from the individuals who were attacked, okay, in this particular video. All right, so as the JC, the Year's Council, with the authority under the YAH'S Indigenous Native Association of Nations, Indigenous National Association of Nations, we are going to begin with the prayer. And the prayer is from chapter 6 in the book of Matthew, and it reads as follows. Our Father, Abba Yah, who established Yeshua in the heavens, exalted is your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done in earth as in the heavens. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our transgressions as we forgive those who transgress against us. And lead us not into the evil inclination, but deliver us from the outer darkness. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. Can we just close
Sure.
the door so that we can begin and try to reduce as much external sound as we possibly can. There, of course, as I explained to you before, we are real people. We are real indigenous peoples, okay, who had a government prior to the arrival of the colonizers, and our governments remain. Now we are in the process. You understand it is a process to be able to reestablish yourself or to reconnect after you have been brutally disconnected or removed and stripped of your nation. And so, indigenous peoples all over the world are rising and working to reestablish their nationhood. And so that is a process. It is a process. And when you have individuals who are attempting to impede that process, it may make it a little bit more difficult. However, we will not be discouraged. We are not discouraged, okay, because we understand what is to come, okay, and we understand that when people feel threatened, that they engage in horrendous acts, and this is what is happening at least in the United States. There are things that are happening all over the world, but for the sake of this particular video, we want to focus on basically taking care of what is actually happening directly to us, particularly, with me being the JC of the Aboriginal Court, and those individuals to whom I am connected and responsible for. Okay, So, Mr. Mr. Vincent Lee.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we are going to begin with the interviewing of and I'm just going to ask you some questions. First and foremost, can you tell us a little bit about your background in terms of, like, for example, are you where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Philadelphia.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about your background in terms of, like, your experience here and how you grew up in the city of Philadelphia? Just so that the viewers will have an idea of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Sure. I come from a large family, 7 sisters, 3 brothers. I lived in Southwest Philly for numerous of years. Grew up there, 49th in Baltimore, and worked practically everywhere in the city. But I am, family guy. Uh, I have 2 sons, and it's not easy, but we do what we have to do for our families. And also, I have, there's, like doing this work here now and my new walk. Uh,
Okay, so before you
it,
go into talking about your new walk, because you were just talking about how you have a large family and how you grew up in Philadelphia. Growing up in Philadelphia, were there some situations that you got, that you were involved in? Like, for example, people who are from a particular generation. I have heard of, like the different gangs that have existed here, and just kind
sure,
of give the viewers like an idea of
sure.
some of the things that you have been through in the city of Philadelphia, so that as you begin to tell your story, it will begin to to unfold um, into the events that happened on October 6th,
Mm-hmm,
2021.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you don't mind sharing some of that with the viewers.
Sure. I again, growing up in Philadelphia, I've been through through the gang war a stage, with my brother and I. Uh, it was always that type of surroundings back then, and even today, I have, you see a lot of the new ones that's coming up, the younger ones who have no idea about those things, just for what they heard. But I've lived them, I've seen them, I've seen the end results too, and percentage wise, I just wanted to say, out of all the gentlemen that I grew up with, been out there in the street with, it's more than half is no longer on this planet. So, um, I'm definitely, truly blessed. The Elohim has protected me, put the hedge of protection, and I am just ecstatic to what He have done for a person like myself, which I know I haven't deserved to even live. But now things have changed. It took another direction. I'm going in the right direction. I'm trying to help others, uh, just like I was helped. So,
Okay.
you know,
All right.
it's
So so with you then moving into, like, a different direction, moving away from that life, and and just trying to work, and just do what it is that, I
the
guess,
right
that,
thing. It's
that
just the right thing.
yeah, just doing the right
Doing the
thing.
right thing. You know.
How is it that you came to actually know May McLeod and Amina?
Hmm.
How is it that you came to know them?
About 5, 6 years ago, I started to work for Miss May McLeod as her caretaker, and I just fell in love with her. She's an older woman who, um, she can get a point across. In spite of her illness, you know, you could tell. She can only utter maybe one or two words, but you can tell. She understands. She's with you.
Hmm.
And I've got to know them guys, man. And I just fell into the family like I was her blood child. Um, she took me under her wing as my mother. My mother's been deceased since '86, so I never had another mother until now. And I feel so outraged the way they had treated her and took her home from up under her, and you know that's it seemed like that's all I was living for was to come to work to help Miss May. Even days on my days off, I would be there because that became my life. So yes, I'm very furious and angry due to the fact of what they done that
Okay.
particular day.
All right.
And
Well.
I was there
Okay.
on duty that particular day when the law enforcement officers came.
Or the alleged law enforcement, because
Alleged.
never was there. Let me ask: were there any badges that were presented?
I never seen a badge.
Were there any documents that were presented that had a wet signature of anyone who could possibly be
I did not
living
see.
or an authority who gave them the authority or the right to actually be present?
No, I did not. And the
Mm-hmm.
strangest thing was, if it's an eviction, why would it take? I think it was 4 officers there first before it became 20 to evict an old woman who's almost 90 years old. I'd never seen that a day in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And they came with such force that it was very frightening because with their hands on their pistols and just coming with strong arming and breaking and entering the the home without our permission, without no one's permission. They came in strong arm and cut the locks and forced us back upstairs into a corner to where we had to protect Miss May. We didn't know if they were coming in blazing or what, but we showed them that we were peaceful people and we were just trying to protect her. So yes, this is it's sad and it's an outrage, and we shouldn't have to just stand for these things. And it makes you want to fight back. You're just tired of being stepped on all the time.
So from you are not new to the streets,
No, I'm not.
to aggression, to individuals coming at you aggressively or anything like that. But the events that occurred on October 6, 2021, at the Asset 1361 South 46th Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as a result of an alleged there was a foreclosure, an unlawful foreclosure that happened. And in prior videos, we have discussed that, and we are going to include the evidentiary documents. But as getting back to the events and what it is that you saw on that date at 9 o'clock in the morning, you begin to describe the what you saw. Um, and how you had never seen anything like that. Could you, in a little bit more detail, describe? Because you said at first there were 4 officers that arrived,
Correct.
and then what did you see? And kind of describe, and from your perspective, what transpired, like what it is that you were actually seeing that you find to be just enough, that makes you, like you said, want to just fight back and stop them from just stepping on us, because that is what they are doing. We are like cockroaches to them. Okay, so continue.
Yes. I was actually in behind secured a gate when they stormed the gate. Uh, there were at least 20 of the officers, and
How did they look to you when you say officers? Because this,
well,
they were talking to the
they didn't have
viewers.
any uniforms. These was undercover, so you
No
really
uniforms.
you really couldn't tell.
Couldn't tell whether they were officers or not. These could have been private hired guns.
Yes.
They could have been like individuals from Halliburton who or mercenaries, but we have no idea who these individuals were. None. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
And also, being right there in the midst of that, I've seen, as they were coming in, I was telling Miss Jones that we need to get back, and there was the cutting of the locks, the breaking, entering without permission. Also, I've seen them, if I may mention,
absolutely. Yes.
that where they had rushed you to the concrete,
they rushed
the door.
Yes.
Because I actually started recording some of that, and I thought that was really, really unnecessary to abuse you like that, first of all.
Now, we haven't discussed, but there is a video out there where there's the recording, and we will upload that video, to this video as well. The rushing of me, because I was the only one at the premises who was ready to actually sacrifice myself against these individuals coming and, first of all, trespassing. Okay. Notice had been provided to them. The 1361 South 46th Street asset is the property of the trust, and we are talking about a trust. Okay. A legal trust. Okay. A private Aboriginal Indigenous trust owned by the trust and protected by the nation. Okay, meaning that it is a trust that has been created by the government, the nation, that we are all nationals of. Okay, so these individuals, whoever they are, whether they assert or claim that they were operating under the authority of the Court of Common Pleas, Philadelphia, which is a subsidiary of the federal government. They all exist because of the governments that existed here prior to them arriving. Okay? Without the existence of our governments that they now so choose to ignore or to verbalize and say does not exist, and that they choose not to acknowledge them anymore, that is irrelevant. It is neither here nor there. The only reason why they remain in power is because the people, primarily the indigenous people who don't know that they are indigenous, continue to support them. Okay? It is a de facto government. They only exist in fact, not law. Okay? And they are able to operate and continue to exist because the people, we the people, we allow for them to exist, and because of that existence, they rule by might. So as Mr. Vincent Lee was explaining, he was there. I was standing there in front. I was approached by someone who had a bulletproof vest on. It indicated it had, I think, did it have sheriff on it? I don't recall, but I know it had his name, his name, and I think it was daily or something like that. It had his badge number on it, and he and I am saying he because as you can see, I am a female. He asked me if I was going to move out the way. And this is an individual who, prior to him actually stepping closer and moving closer to the door, the gate, okay, of the porch, he had said that he was there to do damage, and he did not care about anything else. He was there to do damage, and so he said, are you going to move? I said, no, I am not. And he said, okay, fine. And he proceeded to call for backup. This is what happened. He proceeded to call for backup. This is based on an exchange, verbal exchange. It's not like I had any type of weapons or any of us had any type of weapons that we had drawn, or even that was that we were showing. Not that we did not have that right, because let me tell you, I am a member of the National Rifle Association, and for those of you who don't believe in any of this, the times are changing. Okay, the times are changing, and it is like Mr. Vincent Lee indicated. There are situations that we are going to find ourselves in because of the state of affairs where we are going to have to protect our family. Okay, so but in this situation, there were no weapons on our side. They came full stocked and loaded. It was like the SWAT. This is my perspective. It was SWAT. We had helicopters, the SWAT or the tactical helicopters. A tactical team arrived. Everyone who arrived, they were, they may not have been clearly identified, but they were definitely coming to war. It was as if it was a war, and that's why we were just like, we don't know who these people are. Some of them had, sheriff or whatever. Some of them, maybe like the first 4 who arrived. Okay, but then everyone else who arrived, it was like something out of a movie. So I'm gonna let you take over, because we were just talking about how Mr. Vincent Lee witnessed at least 4 or 5 men rush me and attack me to the ground. Okay, they rushed me and they attacked me to the ground. And you see me, I'm about 120 pounds. And yes, I was standing to protect, just me, to prevent them from, in my mind, like, what am I thinking, right? I knew that I couldn't stop them, but, just with the sheer determination of me just not going to just step by and allow for these people to just come in and kill my family, I was standing there alone when these individuals rushed me. These individuals who all appeared to be on some type of steroids, okay, because they were not small individuals, and they had all their tactical gear on, and they rushed me. Okay, they rushed me, and the only thing I had was my walking stick. Okay, for the nation, in my nation, my appellation, my name is Silver Moon Walking Water Stick. Okay, and so that is my form of protection. That is my form of protection, and I put it up to hold them back, and and to prevent them from advancing. We were clearly not in agreement with them being there, them trespassing on private property, regardless of what they might think. They did not have a right to be there. They did not have a right to be there. Okay, so you can continue. So that did happen. They rushed me. Mr. Vincent Lee mentioned that, and this is when he began to record the situation. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. You begin to record. So what was going through your mind at the time that you visibly witnessed them rushing me to the ground, these men? What happened?
I was praying to Yah that they did not, kill you, because the way they rushed you, it was just ridiculous. it was uncalled for. But at the same time, like I said, we were more afraid for Miss May McLeod because of the way they came in and with such force. But I really just wanted to say the main part I thought when I looked in her eyes and I escorted her down the steps and all the law enforcement was in her dining room, in her living room, uh, and I looked in her eyes and I seen the tears because I can imagine, that's her home. That's where she lived and raised her kids for, I don't know, 40, 50 years. And it's sad that, they was on both sides of us as I was escorting her out the door. And she was just looking around, like, just took everything from her. And she's still not the same ever since that happened. And, my heart goes out to her. Uh, it bleeds for her because of, the endurance, the things that she had to go through to see those things, in her loving home being invaded. So, that was one of my main things when I escorted her out. And my heart dropped also, you know, but, it was just a, unnecessary situation. And more, again, doing the other podcast, I heard you mention that how the neighbors were out and no one recorded nothing. No one came forth, at least so far. And it was more.
It was more of a, like, some people, like, people were just watching, just a reality show.
Yeah, but I thought, like, if you are a bad people, yeah, maybe they supposed to come then. But we're good people. Reflect on the neighborhood. We're always willing to help. We're always willing to go the extra mile, and they had to come in that form of tactics to
They had declared war on us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
based upon the notice that they had placed on the home, while I was actually traveling out of town, my mother had sent a copy of what they had placed on our home, actually on the mailbox. Okay, these are people who had no affiliation, and as far as we know, as being individuals who had the authority to be placing just papers on our federal mailbox, okay, because the mailboxes are under the jurisdiction of the United States Postal Service, and we're talking law here, okay, and jurisdiction, which these people clearly had no regard for. It clearly had no regard for, and this is why, in our, from our perspective, we, they, because they gave us nothing. Even in terms of providing us with the proper notice, regarding I guess the legal process after the foreclosure. Because remember, we talked about the foreclosure proceedings and how Michael Baumstein, and this is Esquire, this is an attorney, and we're finding out that there are actually a number of attorneys who were involved in this seizure. Okay. Michael Baumstein and his legion of attorneys, okay, demonic attorneys, they presented to the courts, to their to the courts that are obviously also colluding with them, because to them this is just commerce. There's the phrase that people use: business is business, okay, and by any means necessary, they will conduct their business. However, again, this is not just about business. This is about this is about human rights violations. This is about the indigenous peoples who have constantly just been attacked. We have been under siege since the colonizer has arrived here. Never have they provided us an opportunity to breathe. Okay, they gave us the opportunity. They gave us a choice. Either you go live on reservations or you assimilate. Okay? And so for those of us, our ancestors who chose to assimilate, well, you have those of us now who are coming up during this awakening process, who are recognizing and realizing who and whose we are. Like Mr. Vincent said, we have been, he mentioned that we are good people. I would not say that we are good people. We are individuals who are just trying to do the best that we can, having realized the breaches, the breaches and the wickedness that our ancestors have engaged in, that have caused, the curses that are mentioned in the scripture to come upon us. And that is, and that's just where we are. We do the best that we can do. We do not, and this is allegedly even within, just jurisprudence throughout the world, where we are not supposed to, when you engage, regardless of whether it is commerce or what have you, you are supposed to do no harm. Okay? This is going back to procedurally what the Most High continuously were telling his chosen people, as well as everyone, because he is the creator of all. Adhere to my laws, my statutes, and my commandments. Follow my laws, my statutes, and my commandments. And one of those primary commandments is to love thy neighbor, or to love thy brother. Am I my brother's keeper? And on that day, as Mr. Vincent was mentioning before I interjected and I began to speak, he mentioned how the neighbors. Now, mind you, my grandmother had lived in that area for at least 40 years. Okay? In other videos, I've said approximately 30. My mother has, she remembers. Okay? She went through and she talked about how when she was pregnant with certain, children, how, yes, like my grandmother was living in that neighborhood. That is the house that my grandfather purchased for her. Okay? So she has lived there for over 30 years, for almost as long as I have been alive, actually. And I was born in 76. This is 2021. And these individuals, and the neighbors, all the neighbors did here, and I will let you continue to talk about, because this is about your perspective, what it is that you saw, like from the, just the neighbors just coming out, and how you mentioned no one even, took out a camera to record any of it. And I'm telling you, it was like a movie. It was like, like Legions or something. I don't know if any of you have ever seen the movie Legions, and or some type of SWAT movie, where they just come at like drug dealers or individual, like terrorists, people who they have deemed are terrorists. Because in this situation, it is very clear that they are the terrorists. They are here on Indigenous land, on Aboriginal Indigenous land, terrorizing the Aboriginal people. It is still happening. This is not in the past, like the lawyer who purchased the property was out there saying, I don't care about your history. I don't care about 300 years of history, Mr. Whoever you are, Esquire. I don't care. The only thing you care about is money and power and stealing people's property. Yes. Canada is also a part of the Americas. And you freely travel between the United States and Canada. So you said you don't care? Well, guess what? Wherever you come from, that's where you need to go back to. Leave us alone. Like, seriously, leave us alone. And for those of you who want to continuously tell us, oh, well, stop being emotional. What do you have to say about that?
If
emotional.
Right.
Don't be emotional. Because let me tell you, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying, being in the thick of it, you can't help but I mean, look what happened to even myself. Like I'm still having the feeling effect from that particular day because my heart and soul was left there. Like I've been with Miss McLeod for so long. I feel as though I'm one of her. I'm like her son, and to see her uh, have to go through what she went through, and to be forced out of her home, and again I'll say like she's still not the same neither. So this it's been hard. It's
Yeah.
been rough. It's been very saddening, But I guess what we do is pick up the pieces. We keep moving forward. We praise Yah, and we try to let the people inform the people that what happened to us can happen to you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
And we know that everyone who has heard and has commented or responded about what specifically happened to us, because evictions happen, foreclosures happen, and all of that, but they really just did not understand why tactical SWAT
Hmm.
from different agencies were present. And that is because people just do not realize what is happening, the true state of affairs. We are living in different times right now. These are different times, and there are numerous videos on YouTube out here where Yas people are sounding the alarm. They are blowing the shofar, and they are sounding the alarm. They are telling Yas people to wake up. They are telling Yas enemies to stand down. The warnings and the notices have been sent. They have been received. They are in the ethers. On the day, on October 6th, 2021, at 9 o'clock in the morning, when the legions of demons arrived, to do damage, because these are the words that came out of their mouth, okay? I turned my eyes up to the skies, up to the heavens, and I put my hands up and I called on Yah, because I was standing alone. I was standing alone. It did not matter that the individual who was presenting himself to be the Aboriginal Marshal was present. We did have a deputy there, but he told the deputy to stand down and to allow for these monsters, these demonic beings, to kill us. He said, let them go and do what they have to do. Those were his words to me. Let them go and do what they have to do. We will live to fight another day. That is what he said. Let them go and do what they have to do. And he expected for me to stand to the side and allow for these mercenaries, murderers, thieves, robbers. I mean, these are not conclusions that I've just come to, without the facts being presented and rationalizing not just the situation, but since this particular government, okay, if that's what you want to refer to them as, because when you're dealing with their courts, they like to look at custom and practices. Well, I present to you, the viewer, what is the custom and practices of this government, this colonial government? What is their custom and practices? Can we, Mr. Vincent, based upon, because Mr. Vincent is not a legally trained individual. He has not read, the number of cases that I have. He has not been educated in the manner in which I have. And so when that term is mentioned to me, custom and practices, perhaps in my mind, I think something different. And so, Mr. Vincent, when you hear custom and practices, what does that mean to you? If they say that if they mention custom and practices, what goes through your mind when you hear that?
Hmm. Well, again, it's just, I already know for being my age. Yes, I didn't go to, read a lot of books or, law, learn a lot about law, but what they call street education,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I've seen so much that for me, and now that the world has changed, there is no, what you just said. There is none because the people now are heartless, ruthless.
Mm.
You know, uh,
So
it
so would you say now that if they're talking about custom and practices, that custom and practices involves being ruthless and heartless?
absolutely, absolutely, and that just for what I've seen, I mean that was the worstest I've ever seen someone evict someone, and this is an older woman who's almost 90 years old. You know,
Not just a older woman, but she is indigenous.
and indigenous.
She's
That's
not
right.
not and not that because and that is important because there is the indigenous right now are being targeted, whether you know you are indigenous or not. This has been the constant reaffirmation by the colonial government every 4 years, where they are declaring war on this land that they are occupying. And so this is why when our people are killed, they deem themselves innocent. But
Mm.
everything that is happening has been prophesied. And that is what is also important here. It is prophesied that these people would treat us this way. When you go into
Wow.
scripture and it talks about the specific times when these events would begin to unfold and how evil would be called good, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, right? And then during the times that we are now living in, prophesied in scripture, there will be a time where out in the open, even in the daylight, crimes would happen. Crimes would happen and no one would do anything. No one would do anything. These murderers, I don't care what kind of titles they put on themselves, because titles, people self-title themselves all the time. There were no there was no authority. No document that we received had any wet signature on it. No wet signature, which is an indication that there is someone, a living human behind, who has given the authority for these people to be present. A wet signature. Okay? You see that? A wet signature. That's all it takes. So that when things happen, whether they go north or south, you always know who the responsible party is. Who authorized you to be there? Who authorized? I don't want to see a stamp that says clerk of court. I don't want to see a stamp that says court of common pleas. I don't want to see any document that just has a stamp on it that says, that just has a seal on it and no signature.
Mm.
I don't need individuals to arrive in any capacity with no form of identification. Just the mere presence or appearance. You see, because this is the problem with what is happening. When Miss Harmon'El, during her interview, when she, described, she said, we don't know who these people were. they didn't provide any identification. There were just, at times there, she would come outside and there's just paper, garbage on her property. Okay. So, so here we are, they just drop their, their debris, their garbage, their trash. So they're littering on our property. And they call that notice. They call that providing us notice. Like, here's, like, whatever, like, here.
Wow.
On our private property. Our private property. These people think that they can do whatever they want to do. And why? That is because we, the Aboriginal people, we, the people, we are the people. The Constitution is the covenant, is the agreement. If you have a covenant, you at least need what? 2 parties, right? So who were we, the people? When the United States talks about their founding fathers, okay, who was it who they were entering into the agreement with? See, there have been so many lies that have been told through this education system. Through this education system, there have been so many lies that have been told that our people don't know up from down and down from up. But they stand on the lies because they have been repeated so many times. And what did Hitler say? Because Hitler did say this. You don't have to tell a big lie. All you have to do is tell one little lie and just keep repeating it. And people will believe it. So it doesn't take much. It does not take much. So, as you were saying, Mr. Vincent, because while this video is being presented to shed light on the events that happen to us, because we are Indigenous and we are one, regardless of what any of you may think, regardless of whether you want to acknowledge you are Indigenous or not, we are a people. We are a people. We are a nation. And as long as they can keep us thinking that we are just individuals, thinking that we are just a tribe or a clan, and have us fighting over tribalhood, tribalhood, like neighborhood, tribalhood, then they will continue to treat us the way that they have been treating us. And to those of you who think that, you are living the life right now, and how, this government, how massa has been so good to you as the individual. This video is not for you, because there is nothing that we say that is going to be able to wake up or to allow for your brain to snap out of the Wizard of Oz. Okay, because this is not a fairy tale. There is no place like home. Okay? And they have invaded our home. There's nothing there's nothing wholesome about it. Nothing. They came on October 6th, 2021. I apologize. At 9 o'clock in the morning to rob, murder, and steal property. Custom and practice. Their custom and practice has always been to do this. The dialogue or the illusion that they have presented to our people in order to get them to go along with their corrupt ways is to tell us that we are equal, but show us that we are not. And it's always been that way. When has it ever not been that way? The media spins. They talk about things that are not even relevant. The media is not, the reporters, they are not reporting on what is truly happening to our people. They are not reporting on what is truly happening around the world. Again, prophecy. We get on here, we're here to talk about what happened to us, because what happened to us is happening to other people. It may not be happening in the same manner, but perhaps what happened to us is to show what is going to be happening. Mm-hmm. Evictions in the past didn't happen that way. But perhaps evictions from the present into the future will happen this way. They will come, guns a-blazing, with the shields, with the tactical helicopters, tactical individuals, and no one will give you notice that they are declaring war on you. In fact, what they will do is they will continue their campaigns to have you turn your guns in and to turn in all of your weapons that you actually need to protect your family. Because they don't want you to have to be able to protect yourself in any way. They don't want that. I stood there with just my temple to prevent them from passing because they did not have a right to be there. I don't care what paperwork they had. None of it is lawful. None of it. How they chose to prey on my grandmother, this elderly individual. Her situation is not an isolated situation. My mother explained how when she became the legal guardian, how these people, all these individuals who were constantly calling and stopping by my grandmother's house unannounced, entering her home and stealing money from her, talking her into signing documents, loans, so that they can get the money. The same situation with Flagstar Bank, Matrix Financial. And if you go online and you actually research, just Google these companies, you will see how the Justice Department, the Department of Justice, has several settlements against Matrix Financial and Flagstar for fraud. Okay? Fraudulent mortgage. That is what this is about. So, going back to the neighbors and my grandmother who has lived in that neighborhood. Yes, I understand. My grandmother, she was a terror, okay? But she was not someone to be messed with. She handled her business, okay? Like we said, none of us are without sin or blemish. But to just stand by and allow for some outsiders, that is our problem. We stand and we watch, knowing that what is happening is wrong. And that is a sin. That is a sin. And there is a place for people who do that. You think that this life is the only life, like this is the beginning and the end, then guess what? You will sorely be surprised. And I can attest to that because not only have I been here, but when they killed me, because the poison, and I'm going to tell you right here, right now, the poison killed me. And it is only, like Mr. Vincent said, it is only by the grace of Yah that both of us are actually here. Mr. Vincent, he did not tell you, but Mr. Vincent, did you not suffer a gunshot to the head? Was it to the head or something?
Yes, I actually I was stabbed in the head.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so stabbed in the head.
Yeah, well, I was shot in my leg.
Mm-hmm.
And stabbed in my chest, a long screwdriver. But it's yeah, I carry a lot of battle scars, battle scars because, this is what happens in the city of Philadelphia, you know, being close to 60 years old, actually. Um, so you can imagine I've been through a little bit of everything, seen a lot of a little bit of everything also. So, um, you know,
And having seen a little bit of everything, had you ever seen anything like you witnessed on October 6th, 2021?
never. That's what I'm saying. Through the gang war, through all the things I've been through, I've never seen law enforcement supposed to be seize a house like that. Like it was all designed and planned. All the participants in it, like it was definitely something out of a movie. This should never happen to anyone, especially not an elder woman who lived in that community for forever. Like you
Yeah.
say, you know the old names and you know the new names of the buildings and the people, and so you would have to have planted roots a long time ago to know these things. But now they're buying up properties, they're taking properties, just because of the locale.
This
And
is and this is University City.
yes,
The universities are participants, knowing participants. They want this property. Um, People know it in the neighborhood. They know it in the neighborhood. It is known throughout the legal industry. And when I say legal industry, I had a conversation with another attorney, and he just said, "You're going to." His words to me were, "You're going to always be behind the eight ball because University of Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia, what is that the name of it? They changed it.
the Blue Devils.
It was Philadelphia College of Pharmacy and Science, whatever the new name of it is now. They have all decided that they want to push the indigenous peoples out and move in people who look more like them, the descendants of colonizers, as well as immigrants. As long as it is not, and that's what we have to make clear, okay? Whether you can trace your roots back to, 10,000 years of, the Salagi Nation, the whatever nations were here before, like I'm talking about here in the Americas, and then going back to where we were, as the 12 tribes, will go over in our land that Yah had given us. Regardless of whether you are aware of this history, these facts or not, the fact remains that we were here, okay, before the colonizer arrived. Okay, we had governments, we had all of that was set up. And so, as Mr. Vincent mentioned, the participants, okay, University City, these oligarchs, these mercenaries, these robbers, thieves, murderers, okay, they have their eyes set on these territories where primarily our people have lived, okay? Now, some of you, and then I'm going to let Mr. Vincent continue to talk about that because this is important. But some of you, because I'm in the circles and we have these conversations, some of you, the cooners and buffooners, okay, who feel as though that the colonizers have a right to come in and do this because you're saying that, oh, well, they are cleaning up the neighborhood and they are beautifying it. Oh, gentrification is the best thing because now the property value is going to increase. Okay, let me first say that you are treasonous. That's treason. Because as I have said, that regardless of whether you want to acknowledge or not, we are all one. What happens to one happens to all of us. They don't care about you at all. and you agreeing with what they are doing, it only gives them, it fuels them.
Yeah.
It fuels them. It gives them the fuel that they need because they are living off us. We're the assets. Get it through your mind. Whether you disagree or agree with them, they are going to rule by might because they must. Their entire livelihood depends on us, on them subjugating us. That is commerce. That's the commerce that they're engaged in. For those of you who tell us not to be emotional, it's just commerce. Now, that's the first thing. The second thing is, to the cooners and the buffooners, if you who chose to assimilate, right, and you think that you are equal, you pay your taxes, you go to work, you contribute to this economy, you contribute to this government, then why is it that when the descendants of the colonizers or outsiders who are given sanctuary in this country, those who come from other nations, okay? Why is it that all of them, when they come here and they start to want to move into our neighborhoods, then all of a sudden we start to see change in assistance. But there is no assistance when we only live in our neighborhoods. I have told you, my family, over 100 years in Southwest Philadelphia. I don't know how long Mr. Vincent's family has been here, but Mr. Vincent, how long has your family been in Southwest? Mr. Vincent says he's almost 60, okay?
I think since I was like 13, 12.
Since you were 13, you
in Southwest Philly.
Southwest Philly. And where did you immigrate from? Immigrate with an E. There's a difference from the I.
Yeah, that was North Philly.
North Philly, still Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And how long can you think back to how long your family has actually been here? We're talking lineage here. For those of you who like to delve into, the history of like where we come from.
Yeah, my grandparents also, same thing.
Same thing. Grandparents here.
And then, like I said, I have the 7 sisters and then the 3 brothers, and
who are older because you're the youngest.
I'm the baby boy.
He's the baby boy.
Yeah.
So he has siblings just like my mother. She's the baby girl. So her siblings are the same age as my grandmother. See, my history. Okay, some of you have to like go and you have to search and you got to research, but me personally, I was actually, I guess you could say I was fortunate to have older grandparents. To have older grandparents who could talk about the way things were before, a lot of these so-called modern changes. My mother's father was born in 1911. So I had a very close relationship with him. A very close relationship with this man. Unfortunately, I did not have the wisdom to ask him all of the questions that I needed to ask. And of course, he is no longer with us. But it is his blood that runs through me. It's his blood that runs through me. It's my grandmother's blood that runs through me. My grandmother was not a weak person, and my grandfather was not a weak person. Our family has been here. Okay? Stop trying to say that, we come from a different place. Stop it. Mr. Vincent's family. He says his family has been here. Okay? We're talking Philadelphia. Okay? Which is not really Philadelphia. Okay, because if you know your history, then you know that Philadelphia was only supposed to be a couple blocks. We'll have a video about that too. But see, what happens is with these colonizers, they can't help themselves. It is innately within them to see and take. See and take by any means necessary. And because of that, that is how their system has been designed. It has been designed for them to see, fraudulently contrive the documents, and take. So, so would you say, Mr. Vincent, that your family has also been here for more than 100 years?
Absolutely. Like I said, my grandparents and then my parents, and yes, at least.
Yeah, at least.
And we could not go get, like I see how they do the foreigners, want to open up a business, they want to give them money. We've been here struggling all our lives and helping the community,
as best we can.
With little that we have to work with. But still, they give us nothing.
They give us nothing. And the little that we have, they take.
Yeah, they'll throw up the delis and the bars right next door to your house.
Right in our neighborhoods.
Yeah, plenty. That's just so to keep you off track, man. You can't stay focused on Yah. You can't stay focused on your families, your community, because they have all those things in place to keep you unaware, in fighting at each other. They don't want any unity, of course.
Not amongst us.
No. They want you to destroy each other. And you turn on the TV and see now, like, look what's happening to men in the city now. They're just and even the younger men are leaving us.
Yeah, they're killing each other. Just killing off our youth, and while they stand by, and they allow us.
And also look at the vaccine, what that's doing. That's just my opinion that it's driving a lot of people nuts. We have no idea what's in that stuff for real. None of us have a lab to measure or to actually know what it is that we're putting in our bodies. But to alter your DNA, just like you see on TV now, there's no how can I say, like a black family, there's no such thing. They're mixing all the races and everything together, which I'm not a prejudiced person, but I mean, come on now, what happened to that? That's the way my parents were raised, and their parents taught them.
And their parents taught them.
Yeah,
and their parents taught them.
It was always, us, with each other.
Taking care of each other.
Yes. And now
even within the neighborhoods.
Yes. Before you can actually discipline a child, take them to the parents, and the parents will discipline them almost in front of you too, just to let you know that, we're not allowing that to happen. But today's society, children know.
Not just, today's society, children are running amok. Okay,
they run the homes, half of the homes now.
Which is why everything is just out of control and chaotic.
Down. Yes.
And why we have situations that occurred on October 6th, 2021 at 9 o'clock in the morning, and all the neighbors did was just come out and watch.
No help.
There was no assistance. There was no objection.
Right.
Your voice is your power. There are many days for years where you have individuals on 46th Street who were just as loud as they could be.
Wow.
All times into the night, and never Never did, did anybody even call the police or anything, like,
Wow.
because of, like, the nuisance or the, the disturbance of the noise. It's like, our family members, we aren't perfect. And and regardless of whether, you consider yourself family because of the blood or whatever, we are family. It goes all the way back to the 12 tribes. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? That's if you're a part of the 12 tribes. And if you aren't, then you got Abraham's brother, Ishmael. I mean, come on, people. I mean, seriously.
It's all connected.
In a matter of less than a minute, I just basically linked you back to who and whose you really are.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't take 12 years of an education to manipulate you or anything. This is about the truth. Okay? And when you're in front of Yah, let me tell you something. Every day that they are holding court, Center City, Philadelphia, down at City Hall here in Philadelphia, City Hall anywhere else, and what they call the United States, all over the world, wherever they hold court. Let me tell you what else is happening. Court is being held in the heavens. Every day. And I will say that again. Court is being held in the heavens.
That's right. Praise Yah.
Every day. Court is being held regarding what it is that I do. Every day. Court is being held regarding what Mr. Vincent does. Okay? This is not the beginning and the end. It's not the beginning and the end. And I'm talking about this world. Everything that you see tangibly is not all that matters. It is my duty, and I've said this, as a daughter of Yah, because I'm a daughter of Yah first. He can give life, he can take it. He can destroy the temple. He can destroy the soul. So when they poisoned me, here it is. Mr. Vincent was physically assaulted, battered. His life was, someone tried to take his life. Someone poisoned me, or someone's, made mockery of it in the article. Oh yes, I'm going to mention the article in here because we're going to address the article from 2015. Everyone has had the opportunity to comment on this article, and I never, the individual who the article was about, never said anything. But I am going to give my side of the story. It is not just about me making up stuff. They poisoned me. I died. And for whatever reason, Yah sent me back. He sent me back. Praise Yah. Oh my gosh, he sent me back. And I did not want to come back. But that's not what this video is about. We'll talk about that in another video. But yes, on the record, okay? On the record, utilizing their rules of evidence, okay? They put it in writing, but wanted to dismiss it. Ha ha ha. She said, spiders or whatever. Whatever. Okay. That is in writing. It's the article. Look it up. Rashia Lynn Harmon. That's why the title of this station is Rashia Lynn Harmon. The L stands for Elohim, because I am his daughter. I'm from the tribe of Yasharel, and I know it. The tribe of Yasharel is nothing but the 12 sons of Israel. Yaakov, who Yah changed his name from Yaakov or Jacob to Israel, Yasharel. Do your research, people. And it's not a lot of research. Because the majority of people, you have a Bible. I use the Sefer because it uses a lot of the old, the Hebraic names of places, including names of people, so that we get it right. I'm not interested in anyone's interpretation or commentary. It's like on October 6th, 2021. What happened? It happened.
Yes.
Regardless of whether the media was there or not. The media controlled by the right or the left. I don't care. It was newsworthy and they were not there. In 2015, they told me that the landlord-tenant matter regarding 429 North 13th Street, which I did put a lien on, was newsworthy, and that is why they were present in the courtroom regarding me going into my home that they wanted to evict me from because I did not want to live in such a filthy and infested, rodent-infested place. Remember, people, it's not how they spin things, because that's what they do. They spin. But as Mr. Vincent has attested to, him being almost 60 years old, he had never seen anything like what had transpired on October 6th, 2021 at 9 o'clock in the morning when they declared war on my grandmother, May McLeod, born 1934, my mother, Harmon'El, born 1958, and Rashia Lynn Harmon, the daughter of Elohim, born 1976. 3 Indigenous women, 3 Indigenous females, 3 Indigenous daughters of Yah. That is what they did. They declared war and they came in, guns, shields, tactical helicopters. I'm surprised the people didn't drop from the goddamn sky.
Right, compel them. But yes, again, for being my age, I had never seen that before. Never witnessed that type of behavior toward anybody, especially not an older woman such as Miss McLeod. So, she's still not herself, and I don't think she ever will be, due to this siege, and it's very sad and hurting feeling when I converse with her, and I can tell that she's still, because she witnessed those things, man. She couldn't have said much, but because of
her condition.
Her condition, but I mean, like I said, I looked at her face as we was going down the steps, as we was coming through her living room, and the law enforcement on both sides, like what they call it, the kangaroo line. Like, I was like, wow, man, thank Yah they opened up a little space for us to get through, but
a little,
very little, but yeah, it was a narrow escape,
And let's talk about the escape, because one of the individuals who we did not mention who was present there was a priest, an Aboriginal priest who was present at the scene, who arrived with the Aboriginal marshal. And I was not, because they had, like, after they had, they had attacked me and tackled me, rushed me to the ground at the gate of 1361 South 46th Street. They then shackled me like an animal, hands behind my back as well as my feet, and they carried me to the van that was waiting outside to escort me away. So they had, captured me and arrested me. All right, I was arrested, and on my way out, I just told them, there was, these are men. Several of them, I don't know how many of them carried me, but after they tackled me and shackled me, and because I was not going to walk, I was not giving up. I was not going to willingly let them do anything. I told them that you might as well execute me right here. This is what I said to them. And whoever the individual was who was holding my left arm, okay, because they were carrying me. And there may have been like 3 or 4 of them. If anyone has the video, you really should release the video so that we can actually see these events. But at this time, we don't know of anyone who had recorded these events.
I'm sure there has been, because they just haven't come forth. Because out of the 100 people staring, meaning the neighbors,
yeah, yes,
that's the first thing people do is put their recorder on. The very first thing.
So this is also, a request for any recordings that anyone has regarding what transpired in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, okay? Because that is what the colonizing government calls it, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Because we are not ceding jurisdiction. This is an account of what factually happened, not a spin that they put on things. This is what they did. This is what happened. We are asking that if there's any video recording regarding this, that you please release it. Please submit it, and you can submit it to you can drop it in down in the bottom in the comment section, or you can contact me at Silver Moon, that's SIL, V as in Victor, E as in egg, R, M as in Mary, O N as in Nancy, the number 5 at protonmail.com. You can send it to me, okay, so that we can share visually what transpired on October 6th, 2021 at 9 o'clock in the morning, so that we can visibly witness commerce happening. Since everyone who, not everyone, but those who have commented have told me it's not personal. It's just commerce. It's not personal. It's just commerce. Yah says, follow my laws, my statutes, my commandments. I did not know that robbing, murdering, and stealing was an exception to his law. I did not know that those were exceptions, and that if you were behind, if there was a government, a so-called government, because remember, this is not a legitimate government. And for those of you who study law and who know what's really going on, you know what I mean by that. I get it. There are things that we, that we do and we engage in because we ourselves are looking to reestablish ourselves so that we can engage in commerce, because they established the Non-Intercourse Act against indigenous peoples. So they literally wrote into the law that we could not engage in commerce. Let's put it out there. Since they're putting it out there that they can do whatever they want, and that we were the example, you better pay attention. Because if they came at us like that, that means that you could be next.
Absolutely.
You could be next. Or maybe this has already happened to you. If it has happened to you, share your story. Do not be silent about it. Because that's what they want.
Sure.
They want. See, that our silence empowers them. It empowers them. You need to open up. You need to pray to your Elohim, not to theirs. And you need to put it into the ethers. You need to let your brothers and your sisters know that this is what they are doing. Do not co-sign on this behavior. Do not co-sign on it. If you are a co-signer, then that means that you are a participant.
Part of the problem.
You are part of the problem. You co-sign, then you become an accomplice. In the law, they have the accomplice before the fact, during the fact, and after the fact. Okay? You are an accomplice. You aid and obey in any type of way. And aiding and obeying can be you not doing anything and just allowing for it to happen. And that is the reason why we, as a people, I'm tired of this division. We're not individuals. Okay? We are one. In scripture, Yahushua said, okay? And I'm not here to debate religion and whether he exists, whether he did not exist. You know, we have people who have been specifically designed to cause confusion. Okay? And what I do is when I read scripture, I call it scripture, but it's not scripture. It is case law. This is our case law. Right here. This is our case law. And if you don't read the Sefer, then, you can take it. And yes, it may have somebody else's name on it. But guess what? You get the original Hebrew text. Okay, for those of you who like to claim that this is the white man's. This is not the white man's. He took it. He took everything he took this like he did everything and said it's his. Just like he came and he took my grandmother's property on October 6, 2021. Because regardless of whether it is in a trust and it's owned by the trust and it now belongs to the nation and it is private property, we did that for her safety. That is the home that my grandfather purchased for my grandmother. Period. Not here to, get into the semantics, the etymology, or, the ambiguity of the terms that are used. And, no. Straightforward. No confusion. Let's be direct. What happened? And how the city of Philadelphia, the mayor's office, city council, the Philadelphia Sheriff's Department, the Philadelphia Police Department, the Pennsylvania Bar Association, because there were several attorneys involved in these diabolical and nefarious and malfeasance actions. Because there are a series of unlawful events that happened that led up to the events of October 6, 2021 at 9 o'clock in the morning. So you are warned. Even those of you who think that you are so loved, you're so loved by the colonizer. And those of you who feel as though that, I don't have to worry about that because I am of a different color persuasion. I am easy on the eyes. Or I am of a mixed seed. And so therefore I don't consider myself and I don't acknowledge myself to be indigenous or affiliated as being a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not as, those individuals who are oh so dark.
Right.
All of that is foolishness. All of it is foolishness because all they see is them. Remember, just us. Not just is just us. All right? How are you going to get justice, or how are you supposed to receive fairness from a system that was designed and created to protect a particular group of people? A particular group of people. That's not us. It's not you. Mm-mm. Or they think they have to white you out. Your light skin does not make you better. We've had that issue in my family, my indigenous family, knowing that we are indigenous. What's been your experience with this whole light versus dark thing? Because this we have to talk about the deeply rooted issues that we have, and why it is that we allow for people to do the things that they do to our family.
There's definitely favoritism in the skin color. Even on our side of the family, where I actually have a couple of real red sisters, real red. So then I had one who just recently passed, though, who was real dark, and she used to tell me, she said she felt as though she was the black sheep of the family. Yeah, rest her soul. But there's definitely a difference in the skin tone.
And it was all by design. It was all by design. Their design. Again, to divide and make us feel like we are individuals. Because what did Yahushua say? I don't think I finished, because I mentioned his name and I didn't finish saying what the point was. He said, I and my Father are one. That's what he said. I and my Father are one. People, we are one. This external stuff, this is our temple. Okay? Those of you who know, this is our temple. That's why it is very important that we actually take care of this temple. But the externalities in terms of like complexion, I'm not going to get into the science of it. Okay, I'm only calling it science because that is the modern term for it. But Yah, he formed us from the dirt. Dirt is not pale.
Mm. That's right.
It's not pale. I am the color. This is the color of the dirt that he formed us from. The original, the Aboriginal. He formed us from the dirt. Creation. And then he blew the breath of life in us. That's our soul. And he can take it back at any time he so chooses.
Mm.
And when they poisoned me, he wasn't ready to take it back. When they tried to kill Mr. Vincent, he wasn't ready to take it back. We will go when he says it is time for us to go.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so here in this realm, yes, there's a war. They have biological wars that they have unleashed upon us, and they have a whole host of other types of wars. Wars, entertainment wars, okay? They are in control of the media, so they spin everything. What we see and what we hear plays a huge part in what is happening in between these ears. Even those of us who think that we know, or we know how to deal with them, we have to humble ourselves. We must humble ourselves because I know that I don't know everything. And I have a JD, a Juris Doctorate. That is a doctorate in law. But what I have been learning since I graduated law school, I will tell you that it did not qualify me. That degree that I obtained from law school did not qualify me to have a doctorate in law, but it definitely qualified me to be competent enough to recognize that there was a whole lot more that was out there that I needed to learn about the law. And the first thing was that I needed to return to Yah and Yah's laws, because that is the first. When you talk about the root of everything, everything goes back to Yah. You cannot have anything, nothing, even what man is orchestrating or calling himself the creator of. Nothing happens without the will of Yah. Nothing exists without Yah. I am only here because Yah chose not to take my soul when these diabolical, wicked, demonic beings poisoned me because they wanted to get me out of the way. They didn't like that I had a voice and that I knew their laws regarding the situation that happened at 429 North 13th Street. So, Mr. Vincent, do you have anything else to say to our viewers?
Only thing I would like to say is just stay vigilant. You know, find out what's going on in your families. And as the men, I mean, it just saddens me. Where are we? You know, we need to pull together. We need to, help our communities. We have to do more. We have to show more of, we're tired of it and we're not going to take any more attitudes. And we're going to be more, in tune, with one another.
Yes.
So we have to find out what's going on so we can solve or make attempts to change things.
Address.
Yes.
The issues.
Yes.
And Mr. Vincent, when you mentioned the men, see, I am a woman, and like I mentioned, when they came, when they declared war on my family, my grandmother, my mother, and I, okay, because we're the individuals who are primarily at 1361 South 46th Street, and that is because that is where the National Indigenous Law Center is, and also where I was functioning. I was operating the courts on behalf of YAH'S Nation. That is where, we were. That's where I was. My grandmother's care was taking place there up until that date that she was forcefully taken from her home. Forcefully. Mr. Vincent, you talk about the men. Because the individuals, the tactical team, they were all men. And there's a specific detail that we did not include, even you did not include when you were talking about how they looked. And we touched base, we briefly just began to talk about color, okay? And what was the color? Because we don't use the term race here. But we're gonna talk color since we're dealing with individuals who are operating at a kindergarten level. Now I'm not talking about the viewers. I'm talking about the individuals who are actually in power, positions of power, and the individuals who they are controlling. Because these individuals come and they act as if, we are in some type of simulation and that we are all out at recess and it's just time to play. Everything is just playtime and let's pretend, like we are not adults and that we are just playing make believe. So we get dressed up in our costumes and we go, and whatever happens, we are desensitized because people are dying and people are being injured as a result of the playtime. So, Mr. Vincent, what was the color of these individuals who actually came to do damage? And I'm using that term because those are the exact words that came out of the sheriff's office.
Yeah, I believe 95%
his
out of
officers.
100, these were all, they looked just like me.
Mm-hmm.
They had my skin color. And
men, they were men.
They were men.
They were men.
Had no
They were,
regards,
or at least they appeared to be.
Yeah, no regards of. And not that I'm saying like just because you're, same color as me that you supposed to have, but there should have been some sort of compassion or, say, wait a minute, let me see what we could do to,
There was nothing. There was, you move or we destroy you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was, I think his name is Officer Daly. He was the one who was the leader, or who presented to be the leader, because there was actually who was present. And I'm going to show this on this eviction. There's a sheriff number 249696. Okay. At this moment, we are invoking the federal rules of evidence as well as the Pennsylvania rules of evidence. All rules of evidence throughout the nation, okay? So I'm reading into the evidence. It says the county of the city of Philadelphia. This is the trash, okay? This is the debris that they left on the property, the mailbox, okay? They left it just on. This is what it says, the eviction notice. And as you can see, there's no wet signature. This is something that any one of us who is technologically advanced, okay, who you don't even have to know too much about a computer or a printer. Just connect them and you just know your colors. Like I said, primary education, kindergarten, okay? Some watermark in the background, and here it is. You have yourself a flyer, okay? And this is what they put on our property. Okay, so this is what you have. And then the individual whose name, Deputy Sheriff Samal Robinson. And then there's a phone number. Okay, civil enforcement phone number. Location, 100 South Broad Street, 6th floor, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19110. So, they are, when you talk about commerce, and then the laws governing their laws, the creditors laws. Individuals are like, well, you have to do this and you have to do that. No, the first thing we have to do is we have to stop this type of these types of this type of malfeasance. These are, if they are actually operating in, as who they say they are, like the sheriff, it is the sheriff's job to actually protect. Not protect the the Aboriginals, actually. He is actually supposed to be the liaison. We have the sheriff's manual. Okay, so I know the rules and the laws that govern you, and what they do is they operate outside of the law because they don't think you know the law. But as officials, if they are really officials, it is their duty to operate within the law regardless. They are supposed to conduct themselves accordingly regardless of whether you know the law or not.
Absolutely.
And as we know, that is not how they operate. They themselves are criminals. And before we conclude, Mr. Vincent, can you tell about some of the things, just briefly what you saw, like after they went in this was what, a couple days later when you all returned to actually try to get grandma's belongings and try to actually obtain the belongings of the Indigenous National Law Center as well as the courts and the inventory that we had been because this is a part of what we do with our service to the people, is that we had been collecting. We had been inventorying, products and things since, since the pandemic hit and things, there was like a shortage. We felt as though that we needed to prepare not just for ourselves, but on behalf of our neighbors and other family members, so that in the event that something happened and the resources became low in other places, that we would be able to share. We would be able to assist
That's right.
our people. And so, can you tell us what you saw when you returned to 1361 South 46th Street to try to actually recover, some of the property, some of the chattel, including our cat Star, who remains missing.
Yes.
And we don't know if she was stolen or eaten. Okay, and we do say eaten because look, there was an Asian woman on the premises, and she was very she was very witchy. And I'm just going to say that. Let's keep it real. Okay? Let's keep it real. The facts are the facts. There have been numerous evidentiary support that sometimes animals are used, they are taken and that they are used to feed, okay, in these stores that they have in our neighborhoods, our people. So our cat, we don't know if she was murdered or if they decided to, someone stole her, because they did steal a lot of other things. And so our cat, who is a family member, okay, she's a family member of, we love her, Star, but she is gone. We have not seen her since October 6, 2021, and Mr. Vincent, he returned to try to retrieve her several times, as well as some of the other property. Okay, so can you explain to the viewers what it is that you saw that that these individuals who just these robbers and these thieves had done when they had gone into the home?
Right. Well, besides Star, there were things like you say we was trying to stockpile to have, to share, to, and a lot of those things were it's not in the inventory, it's not of course it's been taken and it's been
Stolen.
also, yes, and I thought was real strange where they used the whole side of that block to take our things and put them in the trash
in front of other people's home, in front of other property.
Used the half of the block to spread it out.
So they spread out our property. We're not talking about trash. This is inventory.
Yes.
Okay? Inventory. And we have everything inventory because the accounting was also my responsibility. So we have on the books everything that everything has been documented. Okay? So what is not what was not in the storage that they put in their name, and what we were unable to recover, it is documented on our books. Federal rules of evidence. Okay? We're using the evidence, the rules of evidence, and we are, through this video, putting you on notice that we have an inventory list that was prepared in the course of our business. Okay? And so these documents are, they are allowed to be presented and admitted into evidence, okay, as support for those items that were stolen by all of the participants in this raid, okay, and declaration of war. Okay, continue. So they had spread, okay, the property all throughout, in front of other people's properties. I don't know if they did that because they were sending a message to other people. We have no, we don't know. But
yeah, and I believe so. I believe that was, like you said, we was targeted to for an example.
yeah, they were using us to set an example, and as to send a notice, a warning to other indigenous peoples. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
To other indigenous peoples that they are coming after you for your home. It doesn't matter if you have a mortgage or not. They will create the documents, fraudulently submit those documents knowingly, okay, with the intent of, because it is fraud, because it is done with the intent of them to profit, okay? And the city is in on it. The city is definitely a willing participant. They have knowledge of it. They have had knowledge of it. Michael Baumstein has been practicing law for 45 years. Okay, he knows all of his associates, all of the individuals who are connected to him, because he was the ringleader. Okay, and he brought the legion of other attorneys who all fell in line behind him. He is the individual who wanted absolutely no one to question anything that they were doing. And so with his connections with the courts and his relationship with the judges, who are also lawyers, okay, these are all attorneys, members of because this happened in Pennsylvania, members of the Pennsylvania Bar Association. Now, mind you, throughout all of this that has happened, I, Rashia Lynn Harmon, am the only one who was listed who was an attorney who has been disbarred. I have taken nothing from anyone. Nothing. No matter what what story they try to spin, I have been unilaterally, and I say unilaterally because there was no due process. They just I learned. How did I learn of the disbarment? I learned from I think I received a phone call from a reporter. I think it was 360 Law or something like that, and they wanted to interview me, and I had no idea what they were talking about. And then recently, when it was actually the day before, a hearing with Orphans Court, who is also in on it. PCA, what does PCA stand for? It's either the Pennsylvania, what is it? Something caring for the elderly or something like that. And so they are involved, and I provided them with notice regarding what was going to happen. They assert, or they allege, that they are here to make sure that the care of the elderly is appropriate. And again, these individuals, when it involves indigenous peoples, which is why we have to get ourselves together and take care of our own, they are here to just add to the intentional infliction of emotional distress and physical harm. If the emotional distress doesn't work, then we will, then it is a part of their strategy to forcibly force you to submit to their will. They don't care about your life.
Not at all.
Human rights violations, elderly rights violations, regardless of what entity they are hiding behind. It is definitely they have us living in an illusion. And there are a lot of people who fall for the illusion. I woke up in 2015 and they poisoned me. And so, Mr. Vincent, there is, Mr. Vincent, like he indicated, as you can probably tell, he is still dealing with and processing a lot of what has happened. As a result of what has happened, my grandmother, her spirit, there is, like I mentioned, in the law, we have the intentional infliction of emotional distress. My grandmother has been severely depressed since. She has dementia, and the Philadelphia Corporation for the Aging. That's what the PCA stands for. They don't care about her livelihood or anything, and they don't care about her well-being, even though that is what they said that they are here to do. None of these agencies or the agents that have been involved care about us. And I'm not just talking about us individually, but I'm talking about us as a people. And so my grandmother is suffering from, she has other issues that have been compounded and added to her dementia. Mr. Vincent, as he indicated, he himself is just still trying to process, the events. And, can you tell the viewers, some of the issues, like you mentioned it briefly, but let's not be afraid to share, because if we don't share, then other people will not know. They won't know. And the adversary will be able to spin the story however they choose to spin it, and make themselves appear as if they are in the right, because they say that they are the law and that they are here to keep everybody else in check.
Well, as you said, like, we're going to keep putting things out there. We're going to continue to
sound the alarm.
That's right. We're the watchmen also. Like, we're trying to inform people that what happened to us can happen to you. And it could just be even worse. Even though our situation was the worstest. But
based upon the eviction,
yes.
What usually happens in an eviction.
Yeah, but things can get even worse for you too. So this is why we're going to try to put, to send the message out there to let people know that you have to be on your guard at all times. And
and come together.
Yeah, and come together.
Help each other. Watch out. Be the town watch for each other.
Yes.
Don't just allow for anyone to come into your neighborhoods and cause harm to your neighbor. I mean, we're talking about people, and these are the neighborhoods. Like we said, like, we know each other. Even if we don't intimately know each other, maybe we didn't have dinner or hang out with each other or party with each other, but like Mr. Vincent said, the people who live in the neighborhood, the old names, new names,
yes,
the buildings, the owners. Like, don't there, people know what is going on. They see the changes. They know who is responsible and who is behind it.
Yes.
So how are you dealing with all of this, Mr. Vincent? Like, how are you?
It personally, it hasn't been easy, because being thrown out of our, because this place, when I first met Miss McLeod, I told you she's like a mother to me, and that's where I took care of her, and her home was like my home too, and now I'm really going through some things, because we still had to organize things, the new locale. We still have to, like, everything is still chaotic, and it's been what, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's been about what this happened on the 6th, and it's the today is the 26th.
Yeah.
So it's 20 days. 20 days
Yeah,
after the event, and we are all adjusting.
Yeah, still trying to put things back in order,
Because they took things out of order. That's the other thing. We were a very organized family. Okay, it's my responsibility to make sure that things were in order at 1361 South 46th Street. So, things were organized. You said we had inventory, so things were in boxes. Things were in bins. Things were placed on shelves. All of grandmom's things had to be organized, and we had to make sure that there was nothing that was left out, because grandmom, as a part of her condition, she could pick up things, she could trip over things, anything that that could cause harm or injury to her. Okay, so we had to make sure like everything was in its place. And
as they call it, child proofing.
So we elderly proofed the
home,
the asset. Yeah. And but when these individuals went in, they were like a bunch of wild animals. Things that were in order, they took out of order. They threw things out of boxes, out of bins, threw everything into bags, but they undid, like, if they had any type of compassion, they would have stopped and looked and said, okay, well, things are kind of like in order, so like let's just carry things out. Even if, let's just say if they had the authority to do what they were doing. But it wasn't enough for them to come at us the way that they did, and I guess they were unfulfilled because my grandmother and my mother and myself were still alive. Because we definitely need to stress that these people came to kill us. Okay, they came to do damage as the sheriff, the male sheriff. Because I think the lead sheriff, because she was definitely present, and that is Samal, I believe that's it, Samal Robinson. Okay, deputy sheriff, her name is there, and she was present. She did arrive on the scene. She was there. She was quiet. She didn't say anything, but I made eye contact with her, and I know it was her because I believe Miss Robinson, she was wearing a bulletproof vest as well. Okay, so she was present. All right. They came there to kill us, and so because this feeling, this desire for blood, I guess, was unfulfilled when they came in. They they destroyed a lot of property. They came in, they destroyed a lot of property. There were items that were broken. They just wanted things to look very chaotic as they, I guess, were carrying things out of the house. But anyone who knows us, and I know there weren't a lot of people who came to the house to visit, especially because of the pandemic. But even prior to that, any other aides that we've had, family members, they knew that things were in order. Okay. As a part of the care for my grandmother, the caretakers were also responsible for cleaning the home. Okay. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That's, something I took on anyway, that's not only being part of my duties, but, the love I had for Miss McLeod, I had to, again, we're making sure that her safety was number one.
It's all about the safety of this elderly individual who, as you heard from my mother, her life had been, there was an attempt on her life, I think back in 2014, where her skull was cracked open just as she was entering her home. They thought whoever they are who did this, again, no one was ever prosecuted, regarding that situation. And that's what we also need to shed some light on. All of the incidences that have happened to us, there have been no arrests. No one has been charged. The district attorney's office, the attorney general of Pennsylvania, because all these individuals have been put on notice regarding the different events that have happened, and that were leading up to this October 6th 2021, 9 o'clock a.m. event. No one lifted a finger. No one. No one. And what I mean by even lifted a finger, there was, if there was a response, the majority of the responses was, there's nothing we can do about it. When my mother went to the court because there's some type of services where they say that they are going to help you with, your foreclosure matters. See, this is a part of the investigation. We went together, and they, to her face, told her that they could not. Yes, sure. They could not assist her with investigating, but that they could help her make a payment. Okay, they were not. They were disinterested in finding out whether or not the mortgage was actually a legitimate mortgage. The only thing that they were there to do was to collect the money. And so this part actually leads into another video where where I am going to be discussing about what the courts really are and how they truly are not courts, but how they are banking industries. Okay, and it's a part of the banking system, unofficial, off the books banking that happens administratively. They are administrative parts of the banking system that happens, and this is a huge part of how these colonial governments are funding their criminal enterprises. Okay, because that's what they are. Whenever you have goons that are that are forcing people through threat, duress, and coercive acts to submit to your will against, and you're violating people's rights. And I have to stop there because every time I refer to us as being people, I just remember all of the documents that I have read where they are referring to us as not being human, and how they how they have in law blacked us out. Okay, they have killed us on paper, and so to them we are not human. We are not human, and this is why they treat us the way that they do on paper. That's why these terms, that they have these labels they have placed on us. And I'm not against anyone having any pride in who they are, but that term black, it has there are legal consequences to anything that is labeled black. Anyone who is familiar, in the commercial industry, when you're dealing with things that have to go underground, that are like off the books, if you have been blackballed, if there's like a black market, there are black people. These people don't exist. Okay, like you exist, but they don't acknowledge you. Okay, and that is the legal significance of that term, as well as other terms, in the in commerce, because people, we have to realize that everything is about the money. It's about the money, and it's not real money. It's like, it's fiat. It's paper that they created, that they have attached a value to. Okay, but that's because that paper is attached to the people who are attached to this land. And I'm just talking about here in these Aboriginal lands. It's the people who fund, who give value to things that they have created. So we have reached the 2 hour mark, and we're going to continue to have these conversations, and to sound the alarm and to keep you updated as to what is happening, like how my grandmother is doing. I am, very concerned about my grandmother because, as Mr. Vincent has shared, she hasn't been the same since the situation happened. It was their intention to kill my grandmother. Um, Not only did she suffer the physical attack in 2014, but now she has suffered the mental and spiritual attack. You know, in addition to her condition. Okay, this is someone who has full blown, or has been medically diagnosed, we're going to say, with having full blown dementia. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And even with that, as Mr. Vincent has indicated, he could see in her eyes that she could see what was happening, and it affected her. It affected her
Deeply.
deeply. And you know, our creator, when he created us, and we come from the dirt. We are natural beings. Okay. And then he blew the breath of life in us, his breath. And if you have read our case law book, okay, because that's what I'm going to refer to it as, then you will understand the, how can I say, the essence of our creator. And our creator is not a robot. Our creator has emotions.
It's the live Elohim.
That's the one and only true and living Elohim.
Right.
He gets angry. He gets happy. He is even saddened. If you read Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah, all throughout the book of Jeremiah and his conversations that he's having with Jeremiah, he is talking about his disappointment or his sadness with his people and how they have turned against him. And they have put their trust in man and in the things that man has created. And so he's having this conversation with Jeremiah. And it's such a beautiful book, because it gives you like a feeling, okay? It like a connection. You develop like a connection with your Elohim. And you realize that he's alive. He has feelings and he has emotions, and when we don't do things, when we mistreat him, he has feelings regarding that. When we give him praise, like David did. And I think the majority of people who are probably viewing this, the story of David, King David, and how King David was not perfect. He was not perfect, but one of the things that he did was he praised Yah. He praised the Elohim. And so because of that, Yah had mercy upon him even when he did something that he should have been killed for. Because Yah, our Elohim, is a warrior. There is nothing wimpish or cowardice about him at all. And when he created us, he didn't create us to be cowards. He did not create us to be what?
We was made in his image.
We were made in his image.
Now, if you was made, yes, that's a lot.
We were made.
He already instilled, put stuff in us already. The ruach and the spirit is already in you. We can. It's a wonder that we can't fly, but we are amazing people that he made. We're his favorites.
Yes. You hear that? We are his favorite. He loves us.
Yeah, absolutely.
He loves us.
Do some soul searching, you'll find out, um, what he did to Pharaoh, what he done to, he opened the Red Sea.
Mm-hmm.
He put the pillar of fire. He got us out of bondage. He
Mm-hmm.
did numerous things for our people.
Yes. And there are numerous things that he has still left to do. Miracles, it's Yah will
Yes,
have mercy upon who he chooses to have mercy upon. And things will be done in his time.
absolutely.
The events of October 6, 2021 at 9 o'clock in the morning, despite the individuals who were involved, none of that happened without the will of Yah. And there's a reason why it happened. There's a reason why they have been ignoring, like all of the evidence that was presented to them that this was not a valid mortgage to begin with, that this property is not it is not open for you to just come and take or for you to sell, whether it's by the sheriff or whomever. It's not for like any other government entity to come and just snatch because they feel as though that they're entitled. And like all of these, they have been put on notice. So it's not like, I mean, there are some notices we did not receive and so did not respond to, but at the same time they knew. But to them it's just a game. It's just a game, and they have I guess like the procedures for their game. They're the rules of their game, and they move forward by ignoring certain things, striking things from the record. They do that. They strike things that they don't want to deal with from the record. They're very good at just ignoring things that don't fall in line with their agenda. Um, but Yah has a plan, and Yah is the best of planners. And as Mr. Vincent was
Absolutely.
saying, the amazing things that Yah has done, even the parting of the Red Sea, and how when Moses, how he went to Pharaoh, and Yah told him, don't worry, because I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart.
Mm.
And it's like similar, like in this situation, like no matter how much evidence we presented that we, that the paperwork, whoever is involved here are individuals who intentionally were engaging in fraudulent activity. No one involved, not the judges, not the agencies that were supposed to be assisting, not the attorneys, all of the attorneys involved. And we, as an attorney, I am an attorney, okay, or I am a lawyer. I refer to myself as a lawyer because an attorney, based upon my own personal experiences and also the reason why they were created and how they were designed, they are designed to turn you over to the system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Oh.
So no, I am not an attorney because I am not someone who is going to just sit. I'm not turning my grandmother over to the system. I'm not turning my mother over to the system. I'm not turning my neighbor over to the system. Where I see injustice, I step in and I work to correct it. That's what I do. Regardless. Okay? And if you want to whatever you choose to however you choose to take that, okay, at Mr. Adversary, then that is your business. But my business, because my creator, remember, you killed me, and what did he do? He sent me back. So, whatever you think you can do to me, that is, that's your business. However, I am here standing, and this whole business about, like we were saying, people want to say, oh, well, commerce and this and that. I'm not interested in using no man's laws to fight this battle that is a war that is being controlled by Yah. Yah will be the victor, and That may have been a battle. From my perspective, it's not even a battle that was lost. It's more like a situation with Pharaoh. And Yah is telling Moses, don't worry, I am going to harden Pharaoh's heart. So you're going to go and you're going to present, but Pharaoh's not going to move. Because he's setting Pharaoh up for the big one.
Yep. Yes.
So do you have any final words?
Well, final word, yeah. I just want everybody, I just need to hear something from some men. Period.
Where are the men, the warriors?
Yes, where are the warriors?
YAH'S warriors.
Yes.
Where are the men who don't abuse women? Where are the men who don't attack women? Where are the men who stand and protect their family?
Yes, they're almost obsolete. Like, wow. In every block that you pass through, if you see one, you're lucky. And it's sad because, going back, when my father, me growing up, I used to see my dad and other men on the block, and, they just didn't play all that, but now, scattered, lost, sick, dead, something. I don't know where we're at, but we need to show up. We need to, we have to be accounted for, and time is not waiting on none of us. So as we see, we're all getting older every second. So why waste time? Now we can make some adjustments and some improvements. And this way, when the younger ones come through, they'll know how to handle that. They would see it come from us first. So, yes, we just have to, my final words is I would like to see some men, and I also have a number, well, first of all, I guess, chapter 10 more will be revealed, even from myself, so.
Yes, we are all a work in progress.
Yes. So
we're all a work in progress.
We want to hear from you guys, and that way we can know, what you guys see.
Right. What do you see? Just as, Yah asked Jeremiah in the book of Jeremiah, what do you see?
What do you see?
Before, I knew you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you.
Already, that's right.
So, what do you see? Just what do you see? Like, what do you see?
Exactly. So give us some.
Before we conclude, because you're talking about the men, and there's a call to action. There is a call to action for the warriors of Yah to step up. Mm-hmm. And they will step up if this is the time, because remember, it's not about when we want things to happen. It's about His time and His will. Okay?
2 different times.
But this is a call to action.
Yes.
During your time when you were growing up, I know that there were several groups that, and attempts by men to help the community. We have had leaders who have been assassinated because they wanted to do the right thing. They put themselves out there, for the betterment of our people. And so they became the sacrificial lamb. Okay? And so during your time when you were growing up, I know I've heard of the guardian angels, and then the Black Panthers.
Yes.
And this colonial wicked government has always tried to demonize, these individuals, and say, like, this is a military force of people, whatever, and they want to rise up against the government and all this. And can you, from your own personal experience, because you lived you were alive during these times, what is your perspective on those types of groups, because we are, this is a call to action. We must take back our communities. We have to protect our elderly, our women, our children, because if we don't, the same thing will happen when the colonizer first arrived here. The first thing they did was they killed the elderly, they killed the women, and they took the children, and then they indoctrinated the children. As Mr. Vincent indicated, the children learn from us. They look up to us. They look to us so that they know what it is that they are supposed to do, how it is that they are supposed to live, how it is that they are supposed to be. Right now, we are living in a time of mass confusion. Mass confusion. And Yah says, I am not the orchestrator of confusion. So if there is confusion, then Yah is not in it.
Absolutely.
Okay? Now, on the other hand, Yah also says that since you refuse to follow my laws, statutes, and commandments, and since you choose to follow the ways of man and to put your faith in man and in man's devices, then I will send a strong delusion so that you will believe that over him. That's in scripture. So, this call to action for Yah's warriors.
Yes. Your
perspective on the guardian angels, the Black Panthers, and any other organizations that I am unaware of. Okay, we know about those because we know that those are the ones the government felt was, the colonial government felt was a threat.
Absolutely.
And they were a threat because they actually were here to help the indigenous people. They were helping and they were bringing together. Anytime there's a helping and a bringing together, then this colonial government has to come in and to cause a division. They have to show by force and by might that anything you do to try to come together, we are going to destroy. Absolutely. We are going to destroy. So, go ahead, Mr. Vincent. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, again, the Panthers and they were more people who helped the neighborhoods, who you could feel as though like the old ladies walking down the street stuff, and they see a Black Panther or something, they're not going to snatch their pocketbook. They're not going to do anything. We felt, they were more protective than the policemen. They would help you and your family. And even now they're today, like I haven't seen anyone of a sort who stand for something. Some men who what we desperately need. Because look what's happening to our children. We're not standing up. So this is why all these things, why all of them, but we played our major role. We done lost the head of being at the table. I think prayer is almost nil in half of the families, and it's sad. So we're calling on some warriors, for Yah to stand up and let's take back the neighborhoods. Let's protect our own. Like she was saying about giving the guns back. Yes, but what you're gonna have to protect your own family. When the time comes, or when it's time to stand up and fight, what are you gonna use? A fork? So you gotta have two.
Second Amendment rights.
Yes.
And that argument about guns killing people, it is not guns that kill people. Because let me tell you something. If that's the case, then you can make the argument, pins kill people. It is whatever a living being chooses to use as a weapon that is going to kill someone. Okay?
Yes.
It is a weapon that a living being, if I put that in my hand, okay? Yeah, maybe this doesn't have like ink or darts that fly out of it when I pull the trigger. But guess what? If I stab you in your eye or neck or, in some major vein, you will die.
Feel just like a bullet.
You will die because you're going to bleed out.
Yes.
So let's think, people. And we're not saying that this is what you have to do, but don't be so naive as to think that the campaign for giving up your Second Amendment rights or advocating against other people's Second Amendment rights is going to solve the problem. Because on October 6, 2021, at 9 o'clock in the morning, all we saw were people with guns. And we had none. And let me tell you, when someone is coming at you, regardless of who they are, whether that is, a robber, like somebody who wants to break into your home or whatever, do you not have the right to defend yourself? See, we as a people, we need to wake up.
They just put that on TV. A guy broke into his ex-girlfriend's house and somebody shot him. I just heard that on the news today.
And it saved her life.
Yes.
Look.
And without, who knows what the damage he would have done.
The damage he would have done.
Probably destroyed a whole family, so we don't know.
We don't know. But what we do know is that there is an agenda to destroy us and to disarm us and make sure that when they come, that they are able to do whatever it is that they want to do with us. All I'm saying is we have to at least have a fighting chance.
Absolutely.
I had my walking stick, okay? They had all types of ammunition, all types. And in the words of the main sheriff who was there, not the sheriff, Samal Robinson, because she didn't say anything, but her goon, Daly, I think his name was, the mouthpiece, the one who was there to cause damage, okay? He said when the priest announced that we were all unarmed, because he saw that they came locked and loaded. He said, he announced, we are unarmed. There's an elderly woman in the house, okay? An elderly woman who lives here, okay? I'm the priest, okay? I will be the mediator. He had to diffuse the situation in some kind of way he could because they came to kill us. They came armed to the T to take land that didn't belong to them. But this has been their common practice. This is their common practice. Overwhelming evidence again. But like Pharaoh's heart, hardened. They don't care and they don't see it. And when their wrongs are presented to them, they don't correct them. They're not interested in redeeming themselves. So yes, this is a call to action. I am not against people being able to defend themselves. Because I'm telling you, on that day, I was ready to do whatever I could to protect my grandmother. It is our right. It is our Yah given right. And the men, you need to step up. We need you. Mr. Vincent, he was present. He didn't, and it was just like, what did he say? He said, our priority was to protect her because for whatever reason, they wanted to eliminate her. They had tried in 2014 and they had not succeeded. The plastic surgeon and the doctors who my mother, took her to, she had to be rushed to the hospital. They were able to save her by the will of Yah. And she's still here. But yet that's not good enough for them. They want her gone. They want her gone. They want us gone. Because we represent something that they despise. And I can't speak for them, but they despise us. They may not say it, but their actions speak for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so, yes, I am an NRA member. And I advocate on behalf of anyone who wants to protect their family. I'm not trying to take no one's ability away from them to protect their family. However they can, that is your right. That is the right of a man. A man has a family. It is his duty to protect his family. It is his duty.
Absolutely.
His duty. You don't know what duty is? It is defined in the law. The law. Not the people who present themselves to be the law. Because they are not the law. You see malfeasance? It is malfeasance. What they are doing, what they have done. Look up FBI raids. The Detroit City Council. City Hall was raided. Just in August. I think August 26, 2021. City Hall was raided here in Philadelphia. I'm looking for my document I had here regarding cleaning up the courts. There's so much that's happening. But see, what they do is they have so many other distractions. They have you to the point where you can't think straight. Because they're creating so much chaos around you that you can't focus on what it is that they are doing and what it is that's happening. Take a few moments, take a few breathers. Just sit and be still and be quiet and just take the time to just think about what you see in front of you. What is unfolding before you? Men, this is a call to action. Yes. That campaign where you're turning in your weapons, man, they are disarming you so that they can come and do damage. Like, I'm not going to respect him enough to call him officer because he is a demon. He told me to my face, we are here to do damage. We are here to do damage. We are here to send a message. And who is the message being sent to? Everyone, every indigenous individual, whether you call yourself black, colored, African American, Hispanic, in what they're calling University City, they are coming for you. They are coming for you. They are taking your land. They are taking your property. They do not care. They will make it so that within the system, it will give them the authority to come after you. It does not matter. You need to stop thinking that just because these people come in their costumes that look like they are, enforcing the law, that they are actually enforcing the law. They are criminals. They are agents. They are Agent Smiths. Like in the movie The Matrix, they are nothing but they are Agent Smiths. And there are so many of them. They are out there over there, and they are also over here with us. But we have to learn to distinguish so that we can see. Jeremiah, what do you see? Stop thinking that everybody who comes to you and says that they are here to help you, that they are here to help you. Men, this is a call to action. You have that right. It is your Yah given right to protect your family, to protect yourself.
I think after this video, though, there's going to be a big improvement with the men, because sometimes that's all you need to be is called out.
Well, we're here. We're calling you out.
And so we'll chapter 10, like I said, more will be revealed. We'll wait and see.
More will be revealed, and Yah willing.
Yah willing.
Yah willing. We will have, the soldiers will step up. The soldiers will step up, and they will start taking back their community.
Yes.
And when we say that, because the government likes to put a spin and a twist on things, the adversary. They do whatever they can to keep us divided and to keep us in the mindset of thinking as an individual. If I'm okay, then everything is okay. If I am okay, everything is okay. But this didn't happen to me, and so I'm just going to go on with my life. It's okay. And it's not okay. What happens to one, it happens to all.
Absolutely.
And so this is a call to the soldiers of Yah. We need something.
Yes.
The guardian angels, Black Panthers. We have to, we have to come together. We have to take care of our elderly. We have to take care of our communities. Okay? This is our right. This is what we are supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is nation building. So I was talking about being a national. This is what it's about. It's about us not relying on them to do anything for us. Because that is where they assume the power and the authority. And we have to come in and we have to deal with things because they can't deal with things on their own.
Mm-hmm.
They are wards of the state. They are non-compos mentis. They are incompetent. They are unable to defend their families, protect their families, care for their families. So we, even though we exist because of them, and what I mean by that is we are the assets. Let's not forget that. They trade us on the stock market every day. We are the assets. We fund their system. But they have us thinking that they are taking care of us. This is a call to action. Where are the men, the protectors of the elderly, of the women, of the children, the indigenous woman, the indigenous child? Where are they? When they came, they eliminated us first. They killed all the elderly, particularly the elderly women, because they had the history.
Right.
They killed the mothers. Why? Because a child's first teacher is its mother.
Yeah.
So that she give birth and they kill her. And then when you talk about slaves, who did they enslave? There was nothing left to enslave but children. That's all for this video. Like you said, there are other parts and other chapters to this story.
Yes.
And I will be keeping you as informed as I possibly can because it needs to get out. This is my life.
That's right. Urgent. This is more urgent.
This is urgent. And it's urgent because there is, and I will drop that in the bottom There is there's a YouTube that I watch, and it's called The Epic Economist. There are changes coming. They're here, and he had a couple of videos about evictions, and when I saw them, I didn't understand. Like the one of the pictures actually was of SWAT going in, shield, and all these other man-made devices that I don't know how to identify, but what I've only seen in action movies. And I was just I wondered in my mind to myself when I'm listening to the economists talk about how after the moratorium of evictions, how this was going to be happening. And let me tell you, it was like a prophecy, because on October 6th, 2021 at 9 o'clock in the morning, when I saw how they came in tactical uniform and, all in character as if it was like someone said action, they all came out like cockroaches. Okay? It was time to do damage. Like that sheriff said, Sheriff Daly, I think his name is. If that is not his name, we will correct that. We have the names of some of these individuals along with their badge numbers. And yes, it is, like you said, stay tuned, because this is not over. It is not over.
Just begun.
You need to take your First Amendment rights and voice them. Black Lives Matter. You're Indigenous too.
In time we don't have, because this is the 11th hour and the 59th minute.
Yes. They are coming. Every day we hear tactical helicopters just in the neighborhoods. Like this is a war zone. Emergency vehicles up and down the street. This is the environment. This is the environment that we are living in. Remember, and this is the city of Philadelphia that drops bombs on Indigenous people.
How about that? Let's
not forget that. Do not forget.
Oh yeah.
And no one paid for that.
Nope.
No one. Again, they come and they do damage and they walk away scot-free. They shoot us dead in the streets and they walk away scot-free. Yep. What does Scripture say? Crimes will be committed in broad daylight, and they will hold themselves innocent.
Even though they're on camera, it still say it wasn't me.
Broad daylight, on camera, video, whatever, recording, We'll just pass some laws that say that people are not allowed to record, and if they record, we'll kill them. We'll kill them too.
Yep, or it won't hold up.
Or it won't, or we'll just deem ourselves innocent, and we don't care what you record. This is the state of affairs. These are facts. This is what's happening. I'm not sitting here as some fiction writer making up stuff. No longer do we need to do that. We are living in real time. These are real time events that are happening. Yes. Real time events. And the time for the shock factor has definitely left me. Okay? I am no longer shocked by what they do. I'm no longer shocked. I've been threatened so many times. Judges, attorneys, whatever. This is who you need to be watching out for. The Devil's Advocate. Oh my gosh. You need to watch that movie. Al Pacino tells you when Keanu Reeves asks him, Dad, why the law? Why not the law? The law is in everything. Everything. Look behind the curtain. Who is truly controlling everything? Who is controlling everything? I mean, what is it going to take? But this is a call to action.
Yes,
to the warriors of Yah.
And like I say, I think, after this video here, we're going to get some positive feedback, and also some warriors are going to step up.
Warriors, we need you to step up. From all over the world, we need you to step up.
Yes.
Because when Yah scattered us. He scattered us to what? The four corners of the world. So this is not just a Philadelphia issue.
Exactly.
It's not just a United States or, North American issue. This is not, this is a worldwide issue. It is a United Nations issue. And believe me, the United Nations knows everything that is happening. Everything. Psalms 83. Yeah, they are conspiring against us. They have come together as a nation to cut us off as a nation. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I keep telling you, stop looking at this book as it being a religious text. It is a case text law book coming directly from Yah. Directly from Yah, him working through people.
That's right.
Individuals who he has chosen to write the cases so that we would know what to expect when this time came and how to deal with it. To know how to deal with it. They take their cases and their laws and they look at their case law and they say, okay, well, this is precedence. Okay? This is what we follow. Well, who are we supposed to follow? What are we supposed to follow? We are supposed to follow our case textbook, our laws, our case law. What is our case law? Our case law is the text that was created and brought down the word of Yah. That's the word of Yah. The word that he actually wrote inside of us.
That's right. It's been instilled.
It's in us. That's how we know right from wrong. That's how we know. And so with that, we're going to end. We've been at this. It's almost 3 hours. Okay? And we're going to end there. The conversation is not over. The call to action is not over.
So I said 11th hour and 59th minute now. It's time for action. It's, no more time for sleeping. We're calling on the warriors, so let's see what happens.
Let's see who's going to step up.
Yes.
And we don't need the pretenders. No lukewarm soldiers. No lukewarm soldiers. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I don't have all the answers. And I'm not here to sit and judge anyone. Because like I said, we are all a work in progress. But I will tell you, when Yah sent me back, I didn't want to come back. But you know what? There's a reason why I'm here. And it is only through his will that I am here. Like I said, these individuals are murderers.
So stay tuned because, there's got more.
So stay tuned.
Yes.
And do more than stay tuned, For those warriors, Yah's warriors, we need you.
Action.
Step up. Yeah. And I'm not just talking about like me and my family. I'm talking about the indigenous people need you. Indigenous, however you identify yourself. I told you who you are. You can accept their labels, and it's great to have pride in like who you are. Whether you call yourself black or African American, I am not here to debate with you. What I do know is that when we look at the lineage and the blood, I know where you started.
There you go.
I know who and whose you are. So when you introduce yourself to me, as whatever, look, I know who you are. It's like they know, which is why they hate you. I know who you are. And because I know who you are, I love you. I do. And I want you to thrive because you are the children of Yah.
Yes.
You're the children of Yah. So to me, it doesn't even matter if you know or not. I know who you are. To them, they know who you are, but they want to destroy you. A call to action. The warriors of Yah. Take care of the elderly and the women and the children in your communities.
Yes.
This is not for men who are abusers or who feel as though that the woman is beneath them. I'm going to put that out there. No, no, no. Read Jeremiah. Yah is very displeased with how the indigenous male has been treating the indigenous woman. This is about us. This is about us because the rest of the world, they are against us. I said the rest of the nations. Okay? They are against us. He put it in writing in the case book. Okay? This is law. They conspired to come against us and cut us off from being a nation. Cut. Sever from being a nation. So let us come together in our communities, wherever you are. Let us come together. Take care of the indigenous elderly, women, and children. Do not allow for those abusers within the nation, amongst us, in our communities, to abuse us, and don't allow anybody else on the outside to come in and abuse us.
Hallelujah.
It starts with us.
Right.
It starts with us. We can't expect for somebody else to come and help us if we won't help ourselves first.
Exactly.
So let's step up. This is a call for YAH'S warriors. And for you to be a warrior of Yah, you cannot be a hater of women, a destroyer of women. The woman is not here to just do whatever it is that you want at your beck and call and whim. And then when she doesn't, for you to lay hands on her.
Absolutely.
Oh, Yah has something for you, indigenous male who has disrespected the indigenous woman. You are supposed to protect and defend her. Protect and defend her. Protect and defend the indigenous family. Protect and defend the indigenous family. That is what YAH'S warriors are to do. That is what YAH'S warriors are to do. You have any hatred, and Yah knows the heart. Remember, I will harden Pharaoh's heart. Those of you with hardened hearts, you are not a warrior of Yah. So don't. Only the warriors of Yah protect and defend. That is what we are here to do. Protect and defend. And so I thank you. And Mr. Vincent thanks you.
Yes.
And
praise Yah.
Yes, praise Yah, all praise Yah. And so with that we will close with a prayer. Abba Yah. Abba Yah. Thank you for lending us your ear and for being present. You have indicated where two or more are present that you are here in the midst. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All praise Yah for being the master, the master, the master.
Praise Yah. That's right.
He is omnipotent and there is none other. He is the one and only true and living Elohim. And so we give praise and we give thanks to you always. First and foremost, we acknowledge that you are the one and only true and living Elohim. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And that because you are here, and that you hear us, and that you know the events that occurred on October 6, 2021, according to their Gregorian calendar. And you also are aware of every other wicked event, situation, and circumstance that they have orchestrated. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And as you are holding court today, because court is in session every day, like the courts down here, as above, as below. What happens in the heavens happens down here. So do not think that the courts in heaven are not in session, because they are. And so as we end our presentation, And our call for YAH'S warriors, our call for YAH'S warrior, we say Todah, Todah, Todah,
Todah.
To you, Yah, for helping us to see and for helping us to know you again, so that we can walk with you and become one with you.
As thy way.
That's right. Yahushua HaMashiach said, I and my Father are one. What thy will is, thy will be done. And Yah, for whatever reason you sent me back, I am one with you. And for those who think that they can make me sorry because I won't succumb to their wills, guess what?